When thinking of Japan, people imagine cherry blossoms and bullet trains. But this country has one of the largest entertainment industries in the world, and it's completely legal, where people have to buy love for $100 an hour, and that it's a country where old people deliberately commit crimes just to get thrown in jail. I'm going to reveal 15 shocking facts that you'll never hear. Let's start with something that is sure to make your head spin regarding Japan's contradictions. This is a country where holding hands in public can be seen as an excessive display of affection. People often bow instead of shaking hands, and public displays of emotion are generally frowned upon. However, Japan is home to one of the largest and most openly operating the phenomenon of commercialized intimacy industries in the world. And I'm not talking about some underground operation. This is a completely legal, systematically organized, multi-billion-dollar industry with contracts, fan followings, award ceremonies, and public events. Walk into any convenience store in Japan, and you'll find specialty magazines for a mature audience placed right next to comics and sports newspapers. The actors in this industry have professional representation, fan clubs, and publicly advertised promotional events. There's even a dedicated section in major electronics stores for this type of content. What's even more surprising is that all of this takes place in a society where people are extremely reserved about physical contact and public affection. This reveals an interesting separation between public and private life that exists in Japanese culture. What may seem contradictory to an outsider actually reflects how the Japanese compartmentalize different aspects of their lives. The industry is tightly regulated with strict age verification rules, content restrictions, and labor protection laws. Ongoing debates and reforms aim to improve working conditions and reduce social stigma. However, the fact remains that this massive industry operates openly in one of the most conservative societies in the world. If you thought that was strange, wait until you hear this next story. In modern Japan, a new type of business is booming where people pay not for coffee, not for food, but to be hugged by complete strangers. These are called Cuddle cafes, and they are becoming increasingly popular among lonely urban professionals. For about $50 to $100 an hour, customers can lie next to a male or female employee in a quiet, dimly lit room. They can hold hands, have their hair stroked, or even pay extra to watch the other person sleep. No sexual contact is allowed, but pure physical comfort is sold as a commodity. It may sound bizarre, but it's actually a response to a very real problem in Japan. The country is facing a loneliness epidemic, especially among working-age adults who spend most of their time at the office. Many people work long hours and face such strict social expectations that they rarely experience genuine human warmth and comfort. These cuddle cafes serve as a form of emotional therapy, where human contact becomes something you can buy. For many customers, it's the only physical touch they get outside of accidentally bumping into someone on the subway. One customer interviewed about the service said that after months of working 14-hour days, lying next to someone and feeling their warmth was the first time he remembered what it felt like to relax. It wasn't about romance or sexual desire. It was about the basic human need for comfort and connection that modern Japanese society often fails to provide. Let's be honest, if you were facing unbearable social pressure, would you ever consider hiring a stranger for a hug? Let us know in the comments below. Japan has about 4 million vending machines scattered across the country. That's one for every 30 people, making Japan the country with the highest density of vending machines in the world. But what's truly shocking here is that you can buy almost anything from these machines, and I mean anything. Sure, you'll find the usual things like drinks, snacks, and cigarettes. But in some areas you'll find vending machines selling photo books, underwear, and other adult items, all completely unregulated and without age verification. These items are discreetly packaged and sold openly as a normal part of urban life. For visitors from countries with strict regulations on restricted content, seeing these items for sale in public vending machines can be a real culture shock. You could be walking down a quiet residential street and suddenly come across a machine selling things that are tightly controlled or completely banned in other countries. But here's the thing, these controversial machines make up a very small fraction of Japan's vending machine ecosystem. The vast majority of them serve basic needs with incredible reliability and convenience. You can get a hot coffee at 3 in the morning, fresh flowers for a last-minute date, or even an umbrella when it suddenly starts to rain. The vending machine culture reflects the Japanese values of convenience, automation, and trust. These machines operate 24/7 with very little vandalism or theft, which speaks to the societal respect for public property in Japan. Let's start with something that sounds completely insane, but is actually a growing crisis in Japan. Picture this. A 75-year-old woman walks into a convenience store, deliberately steals a bag of rice, and calmly waits for the police to arrive. She isn't desperate for food. She doesn't have a mental illness. She's doing it on purpose because she wants to go to jail. This isn't an isolated incident. It happens thousands of times across Japan every day. The elderly are intentionally committing crimes just to get arrested, and the reason will break your heart. In prison, these seniors get 3 meals a day, medical care, and most importantly, social interaction. Outside of prison, many of them live in tiny apartments, completely alone, with no family, no friends, and no purpose in life. Prison has become their ideal retirement home. One old man I read about confessed that he deliberately shoplifted not because he was in need, but because in prison, he felt like he had a family. The guards talked to him, he had a routine, and for the first time in years, he wasn't invisible anymore. The statistics are staggering. The number of elderly criminals in Japan has increased by over 400% in the last 2 decades. Some of them reoffend as soon as they are released, just so they can go back. They've created a revolving door between freedom and incarceration because freedom feels like a death sentence. This is what happens when a rapidly aging society is combined with a culture that values work over family relationships. These elderly people worked their entire lives, often sacrificing personal relationships and connections for their careers. Now, in their twilight years, they are completely alone in a society that has moved on without them. The story of Japan's elderly is perhaps the most haunting. What do you think? Is this a societal tragedy or a sad personal choice? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Here's something that will make you question everything you thought you knew about modern Japan. There are sacred places in this country where women are completely forbidden from entering, and this ban has been enforced for over 1,000 years. Mount Omin, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, has signs that say no women allowed in multiple languages. The island of Okinoshima completely forbids women from setting foot on its shores. These restrictions are in place to preserve what is considered spiritual purity, according to ancient religious beliefs. But it doesn't stop there. Women are banned from professional sumo wrestling, are restricted from certain temple areas, and must wait 6 months after a divorce before they can remarry, while men can remarry immediately. This creates an interesting contradiction in a country that is quite progressive in many ways. Japan has female CEOs, politicians, and experts in every field, yet these ancient taboos exist alongside modern equality. For tourists visiting these areas, respecting these rules means acknowledging the complexity of Japanese culture, even when it challenges personal values about gender equality. It's a reminder that tradition and progress don't always go hand in hand, even in the most advanced societies. If a tradition is fundamentally discriminatory, does it still deserve to be called cultural heritage and be respected? Let us know in the comments below. Imagine this, you're a tourist in Japan, excited to experience the famous hot spring culture. You've traveled thousands of miles, booked the perfect ryokan, and are ready to relax in the therapeutic waters. Then you're turned away at the door because of a small tattoo on your shoulder. This happens to thousands of visitors every year, and it stems from a deep cultural connection between tattoos and organized crime. For decades, the Yakuza have marked their bodies with elaborate traditional tattoos called irizumi, as a symbol of loyalty and commitment to their criminal organizations. As a result, tattoos became associated with danger and instability in the minds of many Japanese people. To maintain a safe environment, countless public places enforce a strict no tattoos policy, regardless of whether you're a tourist, what the tattoo represents, or why you got it. Signs are everywhere. No tattoos allowed are posted at the entrances of hot springs, gyms, swimming pools, and even some restaurants. Some places offer patches to cover tattoos, but many make no exceptions for anyone. However, attitudes are slowly changing, especially among younger Japanese who see tattoos as personal art rather than a sign of criminality. Tourist-friendly establishments are beginning to relax this policy, and some areas now allow tattoos as long as they are not offensive or gang-related. But the majority of traditional establishments still maintain these restrictions, creating an ongoing cultural conflict between ancient prejudices and modern artistic expression. This next fact sounds so strange it's like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's a thriving business in modern Japan. Meet a boyfriend for a family gathering? Want parents to attend your wedding? Miss having friends at a party? No problem. There are companies that will provide professional actors to play any role in your life. These aren't just casual services. These are full-service companies with catalogs of actors, detailed character biographies, and teams of professional coaches to ensure the performances are authentic. You can hire a father to walk you down the aisle, a best friend to make you look popular, or even grandparents to complete a family gathering. Some people hire fake relatives for important social events because they are estranged from their real families. Others use the service to practice dating or social interactions in a safe environment. There are even cases where people hire a fake family to stage a happier home life for their own mental well-being. This may seem ridiculous to an outsider, but it reflects the heavy social pressure that exists in Japanese society. There are rigid expectations about how your life should be at a certain age. If you're 30 and not married, people will ask questions. If you don't have friends at social events, it reflects poorly on your character. If your parents don't attend important events, it suggests family problems. For some Japanese people, hiring actors isn't about deception. It's about meeting social expectations without having to explain personal circumstances that may be painful or embarrassing. In a society where saving face is crucial, sometimes a fake family is more comfortable than admitting you don't have a real one. Here's a perfect example of how Japan takes familiar Western traditions and twists them in completely unexpected ways. Valentine's Day in Japan is completely different from what you've ever seen, and the gender roles are completely reversed in the most expensive way possible. In Japan, Valentine's Day is all about women giving gifts to men, but it's not just for lovers. Japanese women often give chocolates to male colleagues, bosses, and even acquaintances in the form of giri choco or obligation chocolate. Female office workers spend a lot of time and money selecting high-quality chocolates from famous brands, sometimes even limited editions, and to show the proper respect and appreciation for their workplace relationships. The pressure to give the right gift to the right person can be immense, and choosing incorrectly can affect professional relationships. But here's where things get really interesting. On White Day, March 14th, exactly 1 month later, men are expected to reciprocate these gifts. There's an unwritten rule that men must give gifts that are 3 times the value of the gift they received. So if a woman gives you $20 worth of chocolate, you're expected to return a $60 gift. This creates a complex economic and social calculation, where both sides are constantly evaluating the value and meaning of each exchange. This system has created an entire industry around Valentine's and White Day gift giving. Department stores have special sections, companies create limited edition products, and the pressure to participate correctly can be intense for those who don't understand the rules. When you think of geishas, most people picture elegant women with elaborate makeup and stunning kimonos performing traditional dances. But here's something that will completely change your understanding of this iconic Japanese tradition. Geishas weren't always women, and the first geishas were actually men. Male geishas, known as taikamochi, emerged in the 13th century, long before female geishas became popular. These men were master storytellers and entertainers, often performing at parties for the rich and powerful elite. During their golden age, male geishas were the stars of every important social gathering, much like top entertainers today. Unlike the delicate, graceful image of female geishas, taikamochi were known for their humor, storytelling abilities, and dynamic performances. They could improvise comedy, tell epic tales, and command rooms full of powerful men with their wit and charisma. Today, only a handful of traditional male geishas remain, and they are struggling to preserve this dying art form. Most people don't even know they exist because female geishas have dominated the image of the profession for centuries. But there's another incredible fact about modern geishas. Women who pursue this profession are not allowed to marry. If a geisha falls in love and wants to get married, she must give up her profession entirely. There is no middle ground, no part-time option, and no exceptions to this rule. This presents an impossible choice for many women. They can pursue artistic mastery and cultural preservation, or they can have romantic relationships and a family, but they can't have both. For geishas who spend decades perfecting their art, the decision to retire to marry means giving up everything they've worked for. Some geishas choose art over love and live their entire lives single. Others retire early to pursue relationships, losing years of training and cultural knowledge. This reflects how traditional Japanese culture sometimes forces people to choose between personal happiness and cultural duty. Just when you thought Japanese culture couldn't get any stranger, there's a traditional festival where hundreds of babies are brought into a sumo ring to make them cry. The louder the cry, the better, because a crying baby is considered good luck. This festival is called Nakisumo, and it's held annually at shrines across Japan. It's believed that the cry of an infant will ward off evil spirits and bless the child with good health. The Japanese have a saying, "Neko wa sadatsu," which means a crying baby grows up healthy. The game goes like this. Two sumo wrestlers each hold a baby in the ring. They shout, ring bells, make funny faces, or do whatever it takes to make their baby cry first. If both babies cry, the one who cries louder wins. The scene is both adorable and completely bizarre. Some babies start crying the moment they see the intimidating sumo wrestlers. Others fall asleep despite the commotion. Some even giggle, completely defeating the purpose of the competition. Parents cheer with excitement as their child lets out the loudest, most impressive cry. For Western visitors, watching grown men deliberately scare infants can be shocking. But for Japanese families, this is a heartfelt blessing ceremony with deep cultural significance. Parents believe they are giving their children the best start in life by ensuring they have a strong, clear voice. The festival reflects Japanese beliefs about childhood resilience and the protective power of community rituals. What might seem like a deeply unsettling ritual to an outsider is actually considered loving parental care in a cultural context. Here's a trend that perfectly captures the changing nature of relationships in modern Japan: solo weddings, where you literally marry yourself in a full ceremony with a white wedding dress, a photographer, and a reception. Statistics show that the marriage rate in Japan is plummeting. In 2022, only 474,000 couples got married, the lowest number since 1930. Meanwhile, solo wedding service companies report a 30 to 40% increase in demand each year, mostly from women in their 30s and 40s. These women often have stable careers, are financially independent, and have decided they don't need a partner to feel complete. But they still want to experience the feeling of being a bride, wearing a gorgeous wedding dress, and celebrating their life's achievements. The wedding industry has seized on this demand with all-inclusive packages. You can hire a photographer, rent a venue, order a custom wedding cake, and even hire actors to play guests if you want a more lively ceremony. Some packages even include a fake father to walk you down the aisle, and security staff will step in if needed. What's interesting is that this reflects a shift in attitudes about personal fulfillment versus traditional social expectations. These women are rejecting the notion that marriage is necessary for happiness, while still cherishing the rituals and celebrations of a wedding. The ceremonies often focus on self-love, personal achievement, and a commitment to personal goals rather than a partnership with someone else. Some women use the opportunity to celebrate career milestones, personal growth, or recovery from difficult life experiences. Critics argue that solo weddings represent a breakdown of traditional family structures and social relationships. Supporters, on the other hand, see it as a celebration of female independence and self-determination. Either way, they are becoming increasingly popular in a country where traditional relationship models are rapidly changing. In most countries, falling asleep at your desk will get you fired immediately. But in Japan, it can actually earn you respect from your colleagues and boss. This phenomenon is called inimuri, which means to be present while sleeping, and it's completely acceptable in Japanese work culture. Imagine this: you're in an important business meeting with executives making million-dollar decisions, and suddenly the person next to you starts dozing off. Instead of waking them up or feeling offended, everyone continues the meeting as if nothing happened. The person who fell asleep might even be praised later for their dedication. Why? Because inimuri is seen as evidence that you have worked yourself to exhaustion while still maintaining your focus on the present moment. It shows that you are so dedicated to your job that you've literally worked to the point of not being able to stay awake, but you're still there, ready to get back to work as soon as you're needed. This reflects the grueling work culture that exists in Japan, where employees regularly work 60 to 80 hours a week. The OECD found that Japanese workers put in more hours than any other developed nation. When someone falls asleep at their desk, it's understood that they probably started working early in the morning and will continue to work late into the night. The key to a proper inimuri nap is that you must be ready to wake up and get back to work immediately. You can't lie down, you can't snore, and you certainly can't look too comfortable. The ideal inimuri involves sitting upright, with your head slightly tilted, looking as if you could spring into action at any moment. This cultural acceptance of sleeping at work shows how Japanese society values the appearance of hard work over actual productivity. Someone who goes home on time to rest might be seen as less dedicated than someone who dozes off at their desk from overwork. Japanese bar culture includes something that would seem incredibly rude in most other countries: customers sitting for hours without ordering anything, and bartenders not only allowing it but actively encouraging it. Imagine walking into a bar and seeing someone sitting alone, staring at an empty glass for an hour without talking to anyone or ordering a drink. In most places, this person would be asked to leave. In Japan, the bartender might even save a spot for customers who just need a quiet place to be. It's not about freeloading or social alienation. It's about finding a space to decompress from the intense social and professional pressures of Japanese life. Many workers spend their entire day navigating complex social hierarchies, adhering to strict codes of conduct, and meeting demanding expectations. Sometimes they just need a place to sit without having to perform or interact. Some bars have become sanctuaries for people who need silence and anonymity. Bartenders understand that providing a quiet space for reflection is just as valuable as serving drinks. These customers often become regulars, eventually ordering drinks and building relationships, but only after they found comfort in the silence. This bar culture reflects a deeper aspect of Japanese society, where personal space and the right to be alone are highly respected. In a country where people live in cramped spaces and work in crowded offices, finding moments of privacy is incredibly valuable. The acceptance of silent customers in bars also demonstrates the Japanese principle of hospitality, which prioritizes making customers feel comfortable over maximizing immediate profits. The Japanese understand that someone who feels welcome in their time of need will eventually become a loyal customer. Japan has no shortage of impressive museums showcasing ancient artifacts, cutting-edge technology, and important cultural treasures. But hidden among these dignified institutions is something that will make you question everything you've ever known about Japanese culture: the Unko Museum in Yokohama. Unko means poop in Japanese, and this entire museum is dedicated to celebrating it in the most playful and colorful way imaginable. As soon as you enter, you're greeted by signs that say "Welcome to the world of poop" and surrounded by dozens of smiling, crowned and costumed poop cartoon characters. The museum features interactive games where you can chase digital poop, take photos with giant poop sculptures, and a gift shop that sells poop-themed cookies, stuffed animals, and clothing. Visitors can sit on fake toilets, play with poop-shaped stress balls, and even take home small, cute poop-themed souvenirs. To many foreign visitors, this might seem like an elaborate joke that has gone too far. But in Japanese culture, this openness about bodily functions reflects a healthy, natural attitude towards subjects that are considered taboo in many other countries. The museum's popularity shows how Japanese culture can turn subjects that others find disgusting or inappropriate into educational, entertaining experiences. It's a reflection of a society that knows how to find humor and positivity in aspects of life that other cultures often ignore. This final fact is perhaps the most shocking of all. There are companies in Japan that specialize in sabotaging the relationships of people who are too polite or conflict-averse to do it themselves. These services, known as wakarisasia or breakup services, act as professional relationship enders. If you want to end a relationship but don't have the courage to do it yourself, these companies will stage elaborate scenarios to make the breakup happen naturally, without placing the blame on you. The process is incredibly sophisticated and resembles a scene from a spy thriller. Professional actors will study the habits, preferences, and weaknesses of the target. Then, they create carefully planned encounters to seduce the target, creating the perfect excuse for you to end the relationship while appearing to be the victim. Some missions require months of surveillance, psychological analysis, and method acting. The hired actors will learn everything about the partner's interests, from their favorite food to their emotional triggers, and then use this information to create irresistible romantic scenarios. The cost for these services ranges from $700 to $3,500, depending on the complexity of the target and the sophistication of the deception. Some cases require multiple actors, staged locations, and weeks of careful planning to create a believable relationship-ending scenario. What's most surprising is that some people hire these services to destroy their own marriages because they would rather be the victim of infidelity than take responsibility for initiating a divorce. This business exists because Japanese culture places a high value on maintaining harmony and avoiding direct confrontation. People would rather pay thousands of dollars for an elaborate deception than have a straightforward conversation about ending an unwanted relationship. These 15 facts reveal a Japan that is far more complex, contradictory, and fascinating than most people imagine. What do you think of these revelations? Did they change your perception of Japan? Let me know in the comments which fact surprised you the most, and if you want to learn more about the hidden sides of other countries, be sure to subscribe for more eye-opening documentaries like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where we'll explore even more shocking truths about the world we live in. Thanks for being with us on this great journey. Leave your thoughts in the comments and like to help us. Remember to subscribe for more. See you soon.